Today, I want to tell you about the posing pivot that can take you from a few go-to poses to a brave new world of endless possibilities. Sounds really exciting, right? Well, it is, and you should be super excited about this. I know that I am. And honestly, this has been one of those perspective shifts that has truly freed me creatively.
You're about to learn what it takes to live free of fear, to finally feel confident in your work, and to step into your true authenticity as an artist. Get ready, because this is where we learn to stand out, to say yes to creating the work that we so deeply desire. Welcome. I'm Denise Birdsong, and I teach photographers and artists how to finally make their mark.
Hey guys, welcome back to Make Your Mark. I'm Denise Birdsong, and today we're going to get down and we're going to talk about everybody's favorite thing to talk about, posing our clients. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're here for a reason, and there's something that you need to hear. You ready? Stop trying to memorize poses. In this episode, we're going to talk about posing from a really high level of understanding. Today, I want to tell you about the posing pivot that can take you from a few go-to poses to a brave new world of endless possibilities. Sounds really exciting, right? Well, it is, and you should be super excited about this. I know that I am. And honestly, this has been one of those perspective shifts that has truly freed me creatively. But here's the thing. It's probably not what you think. And this is definitely not going to be your typical conversation about how-to posing. Instead, we're going to start thinking about stepping it up, taking posing to a whole new level. And this super duper magical posing pivot is categorized posing. Actually, to take it a step further, it's categorized thinking, and it is an absolute game changer. And I know you're probably thinking, what is categorical thinking and how does this relate to posing? Well, just hang in there with me. I promise you, this is good stuff. Good stuff is coming. So over the years, I've interacted with so many of you that I'm pretty sure about 95%, if not more, of us have all been that struggling, undervalued photographer who approaches posing in the same way everyone else does, as we're trying to hopelessly stand out. And generally speaking, we start out by trying to copy the poses that we see in groups, in magazines, and from our favorite artists. And then we move on to Pinterest and we start pinning all the poses, like, oh my God, overwhelm, all the poses that we want to capture. We go out and we buy posing guides and we get posing apps, and we might buy posing cards. I know I did that and it didn't work out very well for me. And then when it's time for our client session, we're so all over the place from this overwhelm that only a fraction of what we've pinned, saved, bought, or tried to memorize comes through in our work. It's, oh God, it's terrible. So let me ask you, have you ever just totally blanked on what pose to do next? I know I've been in that situation, and oh my God, it is the worst feeling. Or have you ever had to reference a guide or inspiration page, which to me, when I'm in a session, it's like a total inspiration, time, and creativity suck. And then we do all this only to go back to our same old posing routine. What's the point, right? And I do understand that having those tools can help us get started. And I mean, I really do. I get it. But what's so fascinating to me is why everyone seems to have the same retention problems with this stuff, myself included. And it's because we get bogged down and completely overwhelmed. We use a little bit of what we can remember And then we create a new problem for ourselves. Oh, love this problem. Everyone's poses start to look exactly the same. And everyone's work looking the same is the inevitable result of the patterns that we've created. Since all photographers are copying and pinning and buying the same posing guides, we get the same stuff, leaving us feeling the same as everyone else. I mean, have you actually ever thought about that? How is it that we've actually created the typical boudoir poses or the typical wedding poses? Where did those typical poses come from? Well, they came from the same sources of inspiration. We're all looking in the same places, buying the same guides, doing the same things. So if using the same old inspiration and guides are only helping you a fraction of the time, and when you do utilize them, you're so overwhelmed and you only get a fraction in, and your work ends up looking like everyone else's, why the hell are we still utilizing this same old process? I honestly believe that there's a better way, and it's categorical thinking. So, what's categorical thinking? Well, I'm glad you asked. Categorical thinking goes back to some pretty cool brain science, and you know how I love unraveling how our brains work and how we can actually harness its power in our creation of art. It's one of the brilliant things that we get to do as artists. It's like this. As animals, we've actually evolved to use the least amount of energy possible throughout our evolution. We needed to reserve energy because food was actually scarce. And prehistoric humans weren't the party animals that you think they might have been. We didn't play much. We didn't often burn energy just for fun. And we certainly didn't make sure we got in our daily workout or that evening jog. I mean, hell, if we were running, it was either from danger, after food, or perhaps after a partner. I don't know. And because our brain is a physiological organ, it also reserves energy. We see that pattern everywhere in today's evolution. Our brain is constantly looking for the path of least resistance. And it puts so many of our thought processes on autopilot for us, which is awesome in many cases. So, for example, do you actually calculate 4 times 4? Or do you just use the memorized answer? If you use the memorized answer, that's the path of least resistance. And we operate this way with so many things in our life. Posing itself is actually full of brain resistant thinking because there are so many possible outcomes. And when that happens, our brain literally stops itself from moving forward. And this is what causes those blank moments when we're posing our clients. Categorization and categorical thinking is a way to save energy in our minds. It's actually impossible to remember hundreds of poses. But if you categorize similar poses into similar elements, it becomes easier to approach all of the possibilities that are actually before you with posing. For example, you don't have to know all the types of flowers in the world to recognize a flower. You know it's a flower based on characteristics that define the attributes of the flower category. And the most poised and confident photographers understand this principle. I mean, do you think Annie Leibovitz goes around using posing guides or pin stuff or has apps and stuff? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that she intuitively categorizes her poses by characteristics, and then she executes them she executes them intentionally to create beautiful work. And you you can absolutely learn to do the same. So now we understand that in order to become a standout artist, we really need to think about categorical posing. But how do we start creating these grouped elements? How do we do that? Well, I would love for you to come and join me for my 2-day free, absolutely free, no pitch posing boot camp, where together we are going to do just that. And I'm super excited to explore this brave new world with you and deliver the skills and tools that you need to become a master at posing your clients. Oh my goodness, can you imagine letting go of all of the posing cards and the guides and the apps and the pinning and all of that stuff? Oh my goodness. So come and join me for that boot camp. I would love to have you there, and I'd love to help you take your posing to the next level. It would be great if you left a comment for me on this podcast. I would be very grateful. I would love for you to follow me on Instagram. You can find me at Denise Birdsong Photographer, and please feel free to send me DMs. I love hearing from you guys. I love interacting with you guys. Definitely a people person. I like hanging out with you guys. I love hearing where you're at, where you're struggling, and helping where I can. You can follow me at Strip Down, The Art of Emotive Photography on Facebook. That's our group, and we do a lot of free education in there, and I would love to have you there as well. So I want to thank you for your time today. I look forward to seeing you in that 2-day free posing boot camp. And in the interim, go out there and create beautiful things. Thanks for joining me again today, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.